Live look at the nation's capital, where the Senate opened the first ever impeachment trial of a former president. Tonight's debate focused on if the trial is actually constitutional. The Senate decided it was in a 56-44 vote. So if you missed it, here are three takeaways tonight, folks. First, the trial began with a jarring reminder: House impeachment managers replaying a 20-minute montage of when the pro-Trump mob seized the Capitol. Second, 6 Republicans joined Democrats voting in favor of moving forward with a trial. Representatives Mitt Romney and Bill Cassidy are among those who crossed party lines. Cassidy criticizing Trump's legal team.
It was disorganized, random, had nothing. They talked about many things, but they didn't talk about the issue at hand.
So that brings us to the third takeaway. Sources tell CNN that President Trump is also not happy with how his lawyers represented him on the floor. One of Trump's lawyers, Bruce Castor, admits they made some last-minute changes.
We changed what we were going to do on account that we thought that the House manager's presentation was well done.
Both sides will make their cases tomorrow. The trial resumes at noon.